Alright, this is Whiplash Reacts and we're back with another video, and this is going to be a review of Whiplash, which is a film directed by Damien Chazelle, and to me, this is honestly one of the best depictions of ambition that I have ever seen in a film like this, as it was just so well acted and directed. And not just that, but this is a movie that I totally recommend that you should go check out once in your life, as it is going to be an experience that you will never forget. But I will warn you that this film can get pretty hard to watch at times, but still, this is an amazing film that deserves a lot more attention, especially nowadays. And I am just going to let you know that there will be a lot of spoilers in this review. I am going to break down the plot of this film. So, Andrew enrolls in a music conservatory to become a drummer, but he is mentored by Terence Fletcher, whose unconventional training methods push him beyond the boundaries of reason and sensibility. If there was one thing that I really liked about this movie, is the way in how it does such an amazing job at telling a story that is deeply compelling. And while it may look simple at times, this is a very well written and complex movie that will stay with you long after it's over. And to me, one of the most interesting things about this film is the fact that it is so much more than just a music drama, but a powerful study on the dangers of obsession and how it can change a person's life as a whole. And not just that, but I thought some of the acting performances were really well done, especially from Miles Teller as Andrew Nyman. And to me, this is honestly one of his best performances, as he does such an amazing job at portraying his character as someone who was deeply flawed, but just so well written all at the same time. And when we first see his character in the opening scene of the film, it immediately starts off with Andrew Nyman practicing at the prestigious music conservatory in New York City. But when Terence Fletcher comes into the room and tells him to play the drums again, but in a different tune, it quickly transitions into a shot of him walking all the way to band practice. And this is where you start to realize that this is a young man who will do whatever it takes in order to become the best. And to me, I thought that this was a perfect introduction into who he really is as a person. And not just that, but it perfectly sets up everything for that you are about to see. And I am not going to let it right now. Out of all of the films that I have seen in my life, no movie shows a more realistic depiction of ambition and obsession better than this film right here. And you can really see that from his character arc throughout the film. One of the most interesting things about him as a character is the way in how he tries to do everything that he can in order to become the best drummer in the band, even if it means that he will need to lose himself and his own sense of reality. And while he knows that it won't bring any peace to his own life, you can really see that he is trying to become a better person through the journey that he goes on throughout the film. And not just that, but he fits perfectly with the film's themes of obsession and what it means to actually achieve something in your life. And to me, it is just honestly one of the main reasons on why he is such a well-written character. And you can really see that from Miles Teller's powerful performance in this movie. And I am not going to light it right now. He deserves a lot of praise for his performance in this film, as it was just that fucking good. And not just that, but this is a pretty realistic depiction of a man who was deeply consumed by his own desire and obsession for greatness. And you can really see that from the way he tries to do everything that he can in order to achieve it throughout the film. And to me, it is just honestly one of the main reasons on what makes this film hit so fucking hard. And if there was one thing that I really liked about his performance in this movie, is the way in how he brought so much depth and complexity into his character. And to me, it really goes to show you that he is honestly one of the best actors working in Hollywood today, as he does such an amazing job at playing characters who are deeply complex. And you can really see that from this film right here, as it made him successful as an actor. And now overall, Andrew Nyman is such a well-written and deeply complex character, and Miles Teller honestly makes this film better than it already is. And I am not going to lie to you right now, this is definitely up there as being one of the greatest performances in the history of cinema. I thought J.K. Simmons did a pretty good job playing Terrence Fletcher, despite the fact that he wasn't in the film all that much. And to me, one of the most interesting things about him as a character is the way in how he's portrayed as being a perfectionist jazz instructor who will do whatever it takes in order to push his students beyond the breaking point, even if it means that they will need to lose their own sense of reality. But if there was one thing that I really liked about his performance, is the way in how he brought so much depth into the role, as it really makes Terrence Fletcher so much more than just a side character, but someone who is deeply complex, but just so terrifying all at the same time. And you can really see that from his motivations throughout the film, as they really add a lot to his character in a way. And the bar scene does such a great job at showing just how manipulative that he really is as a person, and how he tries to use the Charlie Parker philosophy in order to use people for his own enjoyment. And overall, this is honestly his best performance, as it really goes to show you that J.K. Simmons can do such an amazing job at playing characters who are deeply complex, even if they aren't the main character at times. And not just that, but he fucking carried this film. And the fact that he won the award for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars is a perfect example on why his performance is just so fucking good. And it wasn't just him and Miles Teller that gave great performances, but I thought the supporting cast also did a pretty good job playing their characters, even if they weren't in the film all that much. And I am not going to let it right now. This is definitely up there as being some of the best acting that you are ever going to get from an indie film like this. I thought Damien Chazelle's direction of this film was just so well done, as it really goes to show you that he is honestly one of the greatest directors in the history of modern cinema. And you can really see that from how he does such an amazing job at telling a deeply compelling story about obsession in the music industry. And to me, it is just honestly one of the main reasons on why he is just the absolute best. Especially when it comes to telling stories that are deeply complex but just so well written all at the same time, and Whiplash is a perfect example of that, as it was the film that made him a successful director. And I am not going to let it right now. We need more movies just like this, especially when we are living in a time of where every film that comes out nowadays is nothing more but generic and soulless slop that nobody fucking asked for. Also, do you know what's the biggest problem affecting Hollywood nowadays? Is the fact that they are hiring writers who don't give a shit about telling a good story, but more about pushing their own agenda. And do you want to know why we go to films in the first place? It's to just be entertained. It's just that fucking simple. And if Hollywood can't realize that, then just look at the fact that every film that is coming out nowadays is bombing at the box office. And while there was absolute masterpieces that came out this year, like just look at Obsession, Project Hail Mary, The Backrooms. They were all great films that were made by people who actually give a shit about you. And it doesn't excuse the fact that there is just no saving Hollywood anymore, as they did it to themselves. And they fucking deserve it. Also, I just want to say that Damien Chazelle deserves a lot of praise for what he did with this film right here, as he made an absolute masterpiece that will stay with you long after it's over. And I totally recommend that you should go check out some of his other films like La La Land, First Man, and Babylon, as they are just absolute masterpieces that Hollywood just doesn't know how to make anymore. And you know what? This guy was one of the first young directors who made a great film. And nowadays we have Curry Barker, we have Kane Parsons making good films that people actually want to see. The cinematography is just honestly one of the main reasons on why this film is just so fucking good. And if there was one thing that I really liked about it, is the way in how it does such an amazing job at making every scene feel gritty but stylistic all at the same time. And you can really see that from how the film uses lighting and dark colors, which is all done to reflect the film's themes of ambition in the music industry. And overall, this is honestly some of the best cinematography that I have ever seen in a film like this, as it fits perfectly with the film's themes and its story, but in a way that makes scenes hit so much harder than they already are. Like, honestly, go watch this film, as it's going to stay with you for a long fucking time. I thought the editing in this film was just so well done, as it fits perfectly with the film's themes of the unpredictable nature of obsession in the music industry. And while it may look overly stylized and unconventional at times, it is just honestly one of the main reasons on why Whiplash is just an absolute masterpiece of modern cinema. And one of the best films of 2014. And you can really see that from how the film uses side pans and jump cuts. I thought Melissa Benoist did a pretty good job playing Nicole, despite the fact that she was only in the film for a couple of scenes. And to me, one of the most interesting things about her as a character is the way and how she tries to do everything that she can in order to help Andrew Nyman out with his own situation, even if it means that she will need to accept the reality of the fact that he is a man who is desperate in wanting to become successful. But if there was one thing that I really liked about her performance, is the way in how she brought so much depth into the role, as it really made Nicole so much more than just a generic love interest, but someone who was deeply compelling, but just so well written, all at the same time. And overall, this is honestly one of her best performances, as it really goes to show you that she can do such an amazing job of playing characters who are deeply complex. And you can really see that from this film right here. And this goes the same way with Paul Reiser as Jim Nyman, despite the fact that he wasn't in the film all that much. But still, he did a pretty good job playing his character, and it wasn't just him. Every single actor in this film gives a good performance. I thought the scene on where Andrew Nyman has a mental breakdown while practicing the drums is honestly one of the most emotionally powerful scenes that I have ever seen in a film like this. As it is just honestly one of the main reasons on why this film is just an absolute masterpiece of filmmaking. So it immediately starts off with a montage of Andrew Nyman playing the drums in the studio. But when he becomes obsessed in wanting to get Terrence Fletcher's approval, it quickly transitions into a shot of him deciding to smash his hand on the drum kit as it bleeds out. But he keeps on playing anyway. And I just want to say that the acting from Miles Teller in this scene is just honestly some of the best acting that I have ever seen in a film like this. As you can really feel his desperation in wanting to become the best drummer throughout the film. And I just want to say that Miles Teller, he should have won an Oscar for his performance, because he did such an amazing job at playing a character that is just so well written and so desperate in wanting to risk his whole life in order to become the best, no matter what. And I am not going to lie to you right now. This is a pretty realistic depiction of a man who is finally coming to terms with himself and his own reality, despite his obsessive personality. And I just want to say that they used real blood in this scene, and to me, it really goes to show you that Whiplash is most definitely worth your fucking time, as it felt so authentic and real in a way. One of the most interesting things about this film is the way in how it does such an amazing job at showing the cost of ambition. And you can really see that from Andrew Nyman's character arc throughout the film, as he spends his whole life trying to become the best drummer in the world, without realizing that it could lead to massive sacrifices and consequences for not just him, but for the entire world around him. And this goes the same way, especially when you look at the philosophy behind Charlie Parker, for example, as they are both men who are desperate in wanting to make a name for themselves. And while this film may look like a motivational film at times, it is actually a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition. And to me, it is honestly one of the main reasons on why this film will be remembered as being an absolute masterpiece of filmmaking. I thought the car accident scene is honestly one of the most intense scenes that I have ever seen in a film like this, as it fits perfectly with everything that this whole movie is about. So the scene immediately starts off with Andrew Nyman trying to retrieve his drumsticks from his car and drive all the way to the JVC festival within 10 minutes. But when he is confronted by a red truck and they both crash, it quickly transitions into a shot of him realizing that he is covered in blood. But instead of trying to call for an ambulance, he runs all the way to the music festival and beats up Terrence Fletcher just as he is about to give his performance. And overall, this scene was just so well done, as it does such an amazing job at showing how Andrew Nyman's obsession has completely destroyed him from the inside out. And it is just honestly one of the main reasons on why this film will be remembered as being one of the most haunting portrayals of ambition in the history of cinema. And this scene is a perfect example of that. And I'm not gonna lie to you right now, when I first saw this film, I thought it was like a motivational film about success and if you really want it, but now I see it as more of a depressing character study about the dangers of what happens if you push yourself too far. And that is what happens with Andrew Nyman throughout the film, as he is just desperate in wanting to achieve something for himself, but he ends up losing himself at the end. Like, seriously, the writing in this film is just so well done. Like, seriously, if you want a film with good writing and good directing and good cinematography, then I totally recommend that you should go check this film out, as it's most definitely worth your time. And there's also a scene of where it's revealed that one of Terence Fletcher's students committed suicide due to the stress that they've been through. And to me, it makes this film hit so much harder than it already is. This is the rating that this film got on Rotten Tomatoes, so 94% from the critics and 94% from the audience, and I'm gonna read out the reviews right now. So for the first one, this is a rare treat, combining remarkable acting, music, energy, and twists that will follow you out of the theater. For the second one, Damien Chazelle explores how much greatness is worth in Whiplash and manages to capture terrific performances in one of the best films of 2014. And it is most definitely up there with Nightcrawler as being one of the best films that has ever come out in the 20th century. For the third one, there is not much to dislike about Whiplash. It is simply a pleasure to watch. For the fourth one, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And Whiplash hits so hard, it will leave you on life support, gasping for breath. For the fifth one, it's a phony and thoughtful film that asks provocative questions and isn't cocky enough to boast of knowing the answers. And that is just something that I most definitely agree with. And as I read these reviews, it's nice seeing a film like this getting the praise that it deserves, as it is just an absolute masterpiece of modern filmmaking and a powerful critique on a society of where desperation and drive is the only thing that matters to people when it comes to aiming for success. And while it may look hard to watch at times, it is still a whole lot better than the woke dog shit that we get from modern Hollywood, especially nowadays. And I just want to say that the sound editing in this film was just so well done, as it makes every scene feel realistic in a way. I thought the soundtrack from Justin Horowitz is just honestly one of the main reasons on why this film is just so fucking good, as it fits perfectly with everything that this whole movie is about. And I'm gonna show you an example of it right now. This is a great film. Like, really, one of the best. Like, when I first saw this film in 2022, no film has affected me more than this film right here, as everything from the directing, the acting, the writing, everything just works. And this film would have not have worked if it wasn't for Damien Chazelle's direction and the amazing performances from Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. Go watch this film, man. It's worth every fucking minute. It's also a little bit misunderstood by some people. And yeah, and while it's important to actually achieve something in life, and while I believe that is true, like, if you actually want to achieve something, then you should be eager enough to risk your whole life. But make sure that it doesn't fully consume you. And that is what this film does such an amazing job at showing. I really appreciate this film for not trying to be pretentious with its subject matter because it does it in a way that feels real. And it's provocative too because it shows what desire feels like. And it hits really hard when you realize that Damien Chazelle was also a musician in his life too, especially Miles Teller. That's just what I've heard. Like, it really makes the film feel authentic. Like, you could tell that this was made by a filmmaker who actually gave a shit about his craft. Imagine that nowadays. And every film is just corporatized slop designed for Netflix and streaming services and all that kind of nonsense. And I know the word masterpiece has been overused a lot, but I really think that this film is a masterpiece. The soundtrack, the score, everything just works. Damien Chazelle captures that. There's not one scene that is wasted. That's just what I like about this film. And I wish Hollywood would do more of, is like, do less filler. That's all. Don't focus so much on filler. That's what this film does such a great job at. Like, every scene has a purpose. It's not done just to pad out the film's runtime. The film knows what it is, and I appreciate that. Like, the ending is a perfect example of that. Like, even though it may look wholesome, it's actually depressing, and Damien Chazelle is just the absolute best when it comes to ending his films. Because there's so much meaning to those endings. And this is just one of those films, and La La Land, if you haven't seen that one, I totally recommend it. because that film changed the way and how I see musicals with the performances from Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. I am going to explain the ending of this film. So, after hugging his father, the scene immediately starts off with Andrew Nyman getting back on stage and playing the drums while everyone is playing along with him. And he also makes Terence Fletcher's tempo his own. But as the scene goes on, the scene ends with him looking up at Terence Fletcher as he plays his solo. And overall, I thought this was a perfect ending to a film like this, as it shows that he has finally achieved his goals in wanting to become the best, all at the cost of losing himself and his own sense of reality. And to me, it fits perfectly with everything that this whole movie is about: the dark side of success. And it is just honestly one of the main reasons on why this film is just an absolute masterpiece of cinema, as it doesn't hold back when it comes to showing you the dangers of obsession and how it can slowly change your life from the inside out. I'm gonna show you the trailers of this film, starting with the first one. Actually, I'm just gonna show you the first one, okay?
This place is nice. I really like the music that they play. Bob Ellis. I'm part of Schaefer's Top Jazz Orchestra. The key is to just relax. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about what the other guys are thinking. You're here for a reason. Have fun. 5, 6, and. I want to be great.
See how he manipulated Andrew Nyman there?
We got Buddy Rich here. Little trouble there. You're rushing. Here we go. 5, 6, and. Were you rushing or were you drinking? I don't know. If you deliberately sabotage my band, I will gut you like a pig. Oh my dear God. Are you one of those single tier people? You are a worthless pansy ass who is now weeping and slobbering all over my drum set like a 9-year-old girl. How's it going with the studio, man? Good. Yeah, I think he likes me more now. I push people beyond what's expected of them. I believe that is an absolute necessity. I want to be one of the greats. And because I'm doing that, it's going to take up more of my time. And this is why I don't think that we should be together. I would never let him put my son through hell. Why would you let him get away with what he did to you? There are no 2 words in the English language more harmful than good job.
In conclusion, this was an amazing film, as it does such an amazing job at portraying the dark side of ambition in ways that most movies never even try to do anymore. And it makes me realize that we just don't get movies like this from modern Hollywood anymore. Especially when we are living in a society of where every film that comes out nowadays is either a sequel, prequel, or remake of something that has already came out before. And to me, it is just honestly one of the main reasons on why Hollywood is a dead industry and there's just no saving it. And if there is just anything else that I want to say about this film is go fucking watch it. As it's just an absolute masterpiece when it comes to the acting, the directing, the writing, and editing. And not just that, but you could really tell that this was made by a filmmaker who actually gives a shit about the story that he wanted to tell. And I'm just gonna let you know that the next films that I'm gonna be reviewing is You Will Never Really Hear, Gone Girl, At Eternity's Gate, The Lighthouse, Apocalypse Now, and many more. So go get ready for those. And also, anyway, that's all I got for today. Go away now, and always remember, strike back like a weapon against wokeness. And keep supporting films like this, because we need them more than ever before. Because cinema will never be the same if we don't make the films we watch better. And that's what this film is. A masterpiece in every way that a film can be. So yeah, see you in the next one.